So first of all, I'm completely against changing our structure of government and moving from a 2-year mayor's term to a 4-year mayor's term. I think a mayor's got to be involved, in touch with the people all the time. As I said before, you work for the people. It doesn't make sense to me to isolate the mayor and say, we'll give you a 2-year term. And I'm going to go through all the reasons I've heard in a moment, and I'll tell you why each one so far that I've heard is complete bunk. So the first thing I want to say to you is, all I did was start projects that may have taken 2 years, 4 years, 10 years, whatever, and pass them through to the next administration. So whether it was the harbor walk on the dike, or whether it's the harbor walk going to be on Acushnet Avenue, or whether it happened to be Route 18, or whether it happened to be the solar projects around the city, or anything else that's taken place with an overlap, that I was involved with, I was very happy to do that work, get it going, and then pass it through. It's the only thing that counts. If you're thinking of it as Scott Lang is mayor, the day I leave, let someone else start from scratch, you haven't done your job, and it doesn't even make any sense. There's got to be continuity. It's a handoff. I handed off all these projects to Mayor Mitchell. He's finished many of them. It's fantastic. It's great. He'll hand off projects to someone else. There's got to be a continuity within the government, and that's very important. So the idea that if you don't have a 4-year term, you don't have a vision, then don't run for mayor, because nothing gets done in 4 years. Government takes 2, 4, 6, 10, whatever it might be, 20 years to get something done.
Let me just cut in real fast. You did exactly what I wanted you to do, and I'm glad you did. A lot of people don't give you any credit for Route 18, the solar farms, or any of the projects that you had mentioned. And I just want people to know that those started well before they were finished.
But and there was projects that were started by Mayor Tierney that finished
Absolutely.
under Kalis, and
People
Kalis
don't
that
see
finished
that, though,
under me. It keeps moving.
People only see the ribbon cutting.
Yeah, and by the way, the ribbon cutting is really important, but the groundbreaking is really important. And
Absolutely.
the idea that 6 months before the groundbreaking, when you finally get that plan done and the approval going, it all makes sense. It's all important. I could tell you that I think that probably the number one project that I've seen that's taken the longest to get done, that I'm still involved with literally every day, is the train. And we will get the train. And the train started off 30 years ago with our legislators saying we want the train.
Yeah.
Eventually we'll get it. Eventually we'll
Is
get
it
it.
going to be too late?
No, it's not going to be in the year 25 if man is still alive. We're going to get it pretty soon. Within 2 or 3 years, we're going to get the train. But the point is, all of these governmental projects take time. It's like pulling a rope. And the idea that somehow if you don't have a 4-year term, you won't pull a rope is just not true. It doesn't even make sense. But let me sum up how I feel about this. You're being asked now, as a New Bedford voter, to give up your right to vote every 2 years. They're asking you to vote against voting every 2 years. I've never heard of anyone being asked to vote to give up their right to vote. We're talking about low turnout, and they're saying, so why didn't you give up your right to vote so you don't have to turn out? That's not the answer here. And moving away from accountability, from the check and balance between an election and the idea that I'm going to coast is not right. They say, well, it's going to be a situation where you always have to campaign. Well, you do campaign. You do your job every day. That's a good campaign. And people will vote for you. When I ran for mayor, I basically said, you've seen my work. If you think I'm doing a good job, please consider voting for me. Absolutely. If you don't, and no hard feelings. I wasn't born to be mayor. I got elected. I've got to earn it every day. So the idea that you wouldn't earn it every 2 years is not right. The other thing is, which is really important, I think, is that if you think that your mayor right now doesn't go to enough events or doesn't make time for appointments or you don't see him around or her around, what do you think it's going to be like if they're accountable once every 3.5 years to all of a sudden dust it off and say, gee, I have to see the
get back
voters
into the
again?
neighborhood. Yep.
Every day you got to be out there. The idea that they want, and I mean they, because I don't know who collected the 2,500 signatures. I don't know how much they paid for signature collectors, right? When I collect signatures, I basically collect them standing at a shopping center, and it's all volunteers.
Absolutely.
Okay, I know they went out, they hired a group to go out and collect these signatures. Now, they could have tried to do a back door, which I think would be much worse. So move forward saying, let's do a referendum. Makes me feel like, okay, let's go. Let's do democracy. I'm here today talking about it. I'm completely against it. People have to make their own mind up. Please consider, though, I was mayor. Running for election was not an inconvenience. It's part of the job, it's important. Raising money, if you need money, okay, should be done honestly, transparently, and you shouldn't say, well, if it was only once every 4 years, I wouldn't raise as much. I'd send out a letter and donate the money to the nonprofits. If you're doing a good job, people will vote for you.
And people will pay. People will write you a check
They'd
if
be-
they stand behind you.
They'd be happy to, and it should be limited in number, and it should be completely transparent, and
Absolutely.
it should be within the city itself.
There is a union loophole right now that's actually just got, Mass Physical Alliance, our last guest, just finally got it. The Supreme Court in Massachusetts just accepted the union loophole case, which let people, you know how your employees aren't supposed to donate so much? Well, the union guy ran for office, and then the union was giving him $15,000, you know, and it was,
You can't,
It's-
I'm
it's not
against
transparent.
bundling.
That's
Yeah,
not-
I'm
yeah,
against
that's bundling.
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
can't bundle.
so 100% I'm with you on that, and I'm so glad you feel that way, and I couldn't articulate it that well, that the every 2 year election actually puts you back in the neighborhood and puts you back into contact with the voters.
You got to debate. It makes you a better public servant. If
Absolutely.
you're not willing to run for election, then don't run.